How dare you? You've insulted me. I challenge you to a duel. What is up, guys? It's me, Chief Fan here. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing the first part of my holiday haul. And yeah, that amount of books, and that's just part one. I have loads of Amazon orders coming. I'm a spoiled brat. But anyway, I've decided I'm just going to show you all the books I got throughout this holiday season, and it's a lot. It's not really the fact that I got a lot of money, it's just the fact that I found such great resources. But anyway, I'm not going to chat on about it any longer. Let's get into it. Actually, before I do begin, I just want to apologize if my voice sounds different. I went through kind of a cold recently, and I just have had a really sore throat lately, and I've been really nasally, so sorry if my voice sounds disgusting. But anyway, first we're going to start off with Stephen King's On Writing, this beautiful Scrivener hardcover edition. And if you hear any background noise, that's just other people. But anyway, Stephen King's On Writing is the greatest writing memoir of all time. If you think you found a better one, you're wrong. You're still wrong. This is like, I don't think any. I heard good things about like Bird by Bird, which is another really famous writing memoir, but I just don't think. But Stephen King's just so experienced that I think his style of writing just clicks with me so much more. So I personally highly recommend it. Of course, I've already read it. In fact, the first couple of books I've already read. So yeah, Stephen King, I absolutely adore him. Alright, and the next book is another one from one of my favorites. Well, mainly because of one book. This guy is one of my favorites, but he still wrote two decent books, and this is one of the decent ones, and that is Dear Mr. M by Herman Koch. I loved The Dinner, as you could probably tell from me ranting about it on the channel all the time. I swear to God, I've read it twice. That's how much I love it. But this one was good. I really liked it. It just didn't live up to The Dinner, and I just thought Summer House with Swimming Pool was just alright. So, Herman Koch, I don't get all the bad ratings on Goodreads. These are good, at least good, decent books. But, whatever floats your boat. But I personally love Herman Koch, and I consider him one of my favorites. Oh yeah, and since there's so many books, I'm just going to put them on the floor to avoid space issues. But anyway, the next book I just want to stop and just talk about a little bit and do a mini review of, and that is The Woman in the Dunes by Kobo Abe, which is now taken the title as the most disappointing book of 2016. I was expecting to love this because I read Kangaroo Notebook by the same author and I liked it, and I've actually heard that that was one of his worst ones. So I was thinking, oh my god, you're gonna love Kobo Abe. I borderline hated this book. It's seriously, okay, imagine this. It's surrealism done with simplistic language. And if you ask me, that just doesn't work. If you're going to do not many words with surrealism, just pull Samuel Beckett and do it abstractly. But don't be simplistic with your surrealist novel. That was my major issue with this, and also it's just the story is about a man who gets stranded in the desert, and for 200 pages, he just keeps getting hurt in the desert. Just, ow, my chest, oh, it's better. Ow, my feet, oh, it's better. Ow, my head. That's literally how the book is, and he keeps getting healed by this one woman. It's not that good, guys. I personally think. I know loads of people love this book, but honestly, I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. And I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. Alright, the next 3 books are all by the same author, so I'm just going to show them. Invisible Cities, If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, and The Complete Cosmic Comics, all by Italo Calvino. I've read all 3 of these, and my favorite is If on a Winter's Night a Traveler. It's one of my favorite books of all time. Calvino is another one of my all-time favorites. But these are the only 3 I've read from him, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, these are like the 3 that most people have read if they've read Calvino, so I don't feel completely ashamed because I've read his 3 most famous now. But I love Calvino, like I described in my recent review for Invisible Cities, which I loved, by the way. Calvino's not one of those authors you read for the story and characters, but you really read it for the experience of reading Calvino. And I feel like Calvino is just a more easier to understand and much less pretentious form of Joyce. he writes stories, but it's not the main focus. It's really about the writing and the format. But at the same time, he can bring a good story and good characters, unlike you know who. But anyway, If Unaware Than a Traveler, The Complete Cosmic Comics, and Invisible Cities, they're fantastic books, especially If Unaware Is Not a Traveler. I absolutely adore that book. Alright, the next book is the book I'm currently reading, and that is The Wonder by Emma Donoghue, in this really nice first edition hardcover. I'm about 100 pages into this, and I've read Room, which is by the same author, and easily her most famous book, and I liked it. I didn't think it was fantastic like most people thought it was, but I did like... I liked the first half more than the second half of Room, but this one I'm absolutely loving so far. I think it's fantastic. So I can't wait to see where this book goes, and yeah, Emma Donoghue's... I'm convinced that Emma Donoghue's going to be even better with her other works, even though I've heard pretty bad things about one certain book, which is Frog Music. That book sounds... Yet again, that's another book that sounds awesome, but just... It has the worst of reviews. Like, seriously, it has gotten panned beyond belief. So, anyway, that's just me digressing. The last book that I have for the, first stack of books is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I read this all the way back in, like, August or July, and I liked it. I really, really liked it. It's one of the most... It is definitely a creepy story, but at the same time, I didn't love it because of the frickin' footnotes, but I did really like this book enough to have me buy it, so... Or at least get it for Christmas. This is one of the gifts that my parents gave me, so... Thanks, Mom and Dad! He spoiled me to death! Alright, and now here's the books that I bought with my own money. All those books that you just saw were, like, under the tree gifts, like books I got on Christmas morning, and these are ones I bought with my own money, because Christmas. But, in holidays, because I know not everybody celebrates Christmas. So, happy holidays, everybody! But anyway, the first book that I have is, The Reason I Jumped by Naoki Higashida. Hopefully I pronounced that name right, but... This is a memoir, I think, about an autistic kid and his, like, rise to a life, his rise in life from being really insecure to just kind of, like, being, like, finding use of his life, and I've heard this is I've heard it's fantastic from most people, but some people really don't like this. I'd read anything that's, if it's a good memoir, I'd read any good memoir, and this one just sounded interesting. So, yeah, the reason I jumped. All right, the next book I'm also going to kind of detail a little bit, not because I've read it already, but just because, and that is Barbara Kingsolver's The Bean Trees. I own the Poisonwood Bible, and it's been sitting on my shelf for like half a year, but I just felt like this was going to be if I'm going to like Barbara Kingsolver, this would be the best one to start out with. Because Barbara Kingsolver is just one of those authors that just seems really dense with her writing, but at the same time she sounds absolutely fantastic, or at least this one sounds absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I just heard great things about Barbara Kingsolver. I've heard she's very diverse with her writing style and her topics, so I'm excited to read this. I think it's going to be great. Alright, and the next book that I have is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. Celeste Ng, I think is how you pronounce her name, but I've already read this because this was one of the books I was waiting to buy for the longest time, and I finally bought it. It's a fantastic book about quote-unquote suicide of a member of a Chinese-American family living in Ohio. It is fantastic. It's very character-driven, and that's what I like in books nowadays. That's just phenomenal. I loved Everything I Never Told You. And I was originally going to get the hardcover, but I found this copy for $4, so I'm like, you know what, the hardcover is going to cost you like $18, so better get the paperback edition. And it's a very nice edition as well. It's just not as nice as the hardcover. Alright, the next book is one that, so I was driving home, not driving, but I was talking to my dad when we were driving home, and when I showed him that I bought this book, he was like, because I always connect with my father in terms of books, but he said that he's heard of this book, but he heard it may be life-changing if it does in both a good way and a bad way. In a traumatizing way, that means. And that's Fast Food Nation by Eric Schlosser. I don't know how you pronounce his name, but this is a book about, like, exposing fast food. And I've heard this book gets disgusting, yet it's a really eye-opening book. People say that this book made them never eat McDonald's or Wendy's ever again. And that'd be something that would be good in my life, because I need to cut back on junk. But anyway, hopefully this is good, because it has a lot of controversy surrounding it, but, you know, that's Fast Food Nation. Alright, the next book that I have is Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese? I don't know. This is a really fat book about two brothers in India. It reminds me a lot of Fine Balance, which is a book that I absolutely love, so hopefully, but instead of two tailors, it's about two brothers, so, Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese. This is, I don't know what I'm going to expect out of this book, honestly. I've just been shocked by the door opening and closing. Like I said, other people. But anyway, the next book that I have is The Mysteries of Pittsburgh by Michael Chabon. This is a Peter recommendation, so thank you, Peter. He recommended this like months ago, and I was wanting to buy it. But the copy that they had for the longest time on Amazon was just really ugly. But then I found this, and it's absolutely gorgeous. HarperCollins, you great publisher, you. But this is literally, I think this is about gangsters in Pittsburgh. Michael Chabon, I like him, so that's something. Alright, the third to last book that I have for the video is Walden and Other Writings by Henry David Thoreau. I love Walden. I think it's fantastic. I just love Henry David Thoreau in general. I don't think he was that much insane at all. I don't think he was insane for going in the woods. But even though it may be kind of a stretch there, but I don't think he was like, oh my god, he's so insane. But Walden was a fantastic book. I don't think that this is one of the books. I used to think that this was going to be one of those books that was just like historically significant, but overall it's a boring, bad book. This is phenomenal, guys. It's the history, it's like philosophy. It's like American philosophy on naturalism and just free spirit. Just relax. Enjoy nature. And most of all, don't stress yourself out. So that's what I took out of this book. It was fantastic. And this also has some of his other essays in here, like Civil Disobedience, which was another really good essay. And a couple of these essays in the back I haven't read yet, so this will be fun. So Henry David Thoreau, I absolutely love him, so yeah. Alright, the next two books are first edition hardcovers, I think, yeah. But, the last two books are, and the first one is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I bet somebody's screaming out there right now because this is a really famous book and really high praised. And people kept saying, oh, Graham, you gotta read The Song of Achilles. It's like the contemporary version of the Iliad. And when people told me that, I thought, oh no, we're not gonna have like another Ulysses where it's gonna be like a retelling of the Iliad. This is... I finally read the premise of this book. Okay. This sounds awesome! This is not like modern retelling of the Iliad. It's the Iliad! It's like an Iliad in another person's perspective. It's like what's that play called? Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead? Like the play that's about Hamlet, but it's told through the perspective of two very minor characters. So that play sounds awesome, but enough of that, I'm digressing. But anyway, The Song of Achilles, I really have nothing else to say about this book because I haven't read it yet, and I've never read anything by this author. In fact, I think this is the only book she's written. But Donna Tartt blurbed this. I love Donna Tartt, so this is going to be interesting. And the final book that I have is the fattest book, hands down, so we're finishing off with the biggest one, and that is, are you even surprised that it's a Stephen King book, being so fat? But even for Stephen King, this is fat. Like, it's over 800 pages, but it's a Nightmares and Dreamscapes. It's a short story collection, and I've heard it's one of his better short story collections. I've heard some of his short stories get a little meh, but This, I've heard, is his second best short story collection, next to, what was that one called? Night Shift. This one, I've heard, is really good. Or was it Skeleton Crew that people said was his second best? I don't know. I'm getting off track. I may just make this video be the off-track holiday book haul, part 1, because they're gonna hear more of my digression in part 2. But anyway, Stephen King, he's awesome. I love him, just like before. Yay. So that was the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below on what you guys thought of the video. And I hope you guys stick around for part 2, even though this was a bad video. But anyway, I'm Mega Man Chief Fan, and I'll see you later, guys.